even had a game on it so far this split, but full focus towards jungle. So we were saying that Shadow is the pivotal piece for NIP. RNG seemed to agree, full focus on him. And that's going to be really interesting to see what they end up first picking, because if NIP still just end up going, which they do, with the same third ban, it's like, do you go for what might be the most valuable picks, which is either this Jace, if you want to get your hands on the Kai'Sa yourself, or it's like, do you prioritize a jungler? Because now jungler is definitely going to be in higher priority moving through this first phase of picks.
I mean, go back to the Kai'Sa. I feel like this is such a great pickup here for the side of NIP. I maybe would like to see RNG have a little bit of a higher priority, but on their own AD carry now that the Rel has been taken away from them. But for RNG, you got to go with the Maokai, and I think you have to pick up an AD carry here. If LP goes down the kind of draft priority once again, I just feel like he's going to have a kind of a rinse and repeat of game one.
I don't know, though. Like, is it worth investing? Or do you just pick up something like a Renekton here? You know what I mean? And, like, guarantee yourself a very strong top side of the map that you're going to be able to play around. I think it is a little bit puzzling for RNG, but they're going to go with your suggestion. They're just going to get their hands on the Aphelios. It really wasn't able to do all too much in that first game, but now...
I was going to say, it's like, I wanted them to pick an AD carry priority, but if they're going to pick the Aphelios anyway, I don't know if that was the one I would have gone for. Like, maybe the Xayah, maybe the Varus, maybe the Pullout. I don't know. It just feels... It feels odd that they're putting such a priority on this pick, considering how, you know, kind of weak it can look in that, you know, kind of first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and now another just strong power pick going over to the side of NIP. Tristana, Rel, Kai'Sa, some of the most coveted picks on this patch, just in this iteration of the game. Of course, we need to remember that Rel for Shadow, it's going to be a flex. Has brought it out this split, had one game on it, didn't even die when he played it earlier on in the split, but of course is another champion that does pair quite well in that bot lane 2v2, so we'll see what they decide on going for. Hell, when you have two marksmen coming out, we even have to be aware of things like that Ivern being a higher priority, because double marksman is just enabled so well by that, so I like that RNG take it off the table, but I gotta be honest, so again, I'm already a big fan of NIP's first three picks.
Yeah, I was going to say it myself, is that, like, you know, you're looking at such huge power coming out here. And the thing with the Kai'Sa, why I love having such an early priority from NIP, is that they clearly have identified that it's like, we can go AP or AD. It means that we have so many ways. Like, the last game, they went full AD. Why? Because they had a Kennen and an Eco. They didn't need to have the AP Kai'Sa. It wasn't necessary for them to kind of make that composition work. Now they can maybe go, well, we can go for the AP Kai'Sa. Why? Because, you know, we have the Tristana. We maybe go for a Renekton topside if we really want to. It would be a lot of kind of early aggression from them. I don't expect them to, but we'll have to wait and see. The Cassante being banned away here by NIP does say to me that they do want to try and maybe leave that, you know, kind of jungle pick for last. And actually, no, they're going to straight for the Renekton, making sure that they have got the jungle pick for last. And then funny thing is, that might not even be a last jungle pick, because Shadow has picked out the Rel into the jungle as well.
Yeah, now I'm curious where RNG go with it. I think for RNG, going with some, like, standard tank in the top side, you know, things like, no, I was going to say things like the Ornn, the Sion, all those still being left open, it would round them out to having a really solid team fight, but still wanting to give Breathe the option to play side lanes, especially when you have Tango in on that chase. So this comp definitely does 5v5 better than the last one, especially with how Breathe will be able to perform in the Mega Gnar and the ultimate that can come out from Wei, but they'll still have that ability, kind of, if some early skirmishing goes wrong, if they want to pivot into side lanes and maybe have Breathe pick up a Hull Breaker and go that route instead. So we'll see how it goes, but you hit it. Name of the game for NIP, Yashin. They have a lot of early aggression. They have a lot of all-in potential. I mean, Renekton and how he'll be able to pair up with Shadow on that Rel, especially at that level 3 mark. I mean, Angel's going to be able to looking to kind of dip and dive in whenever he plays his Photic and Draw. I just love it. I love the level of aggression and confidence that NIP are showing with the picks that they're going towards.
I mean, yeah, like, NIP are going to be delighted. Honestly, I love the draft they've got into themselves. They got the Rel early. It's a jungle pick. They said, cool, the Poppy got taken away. We know we can flex this. There's so many little things that I love about the draft, and the fact that they have so much priority on it. And it does kind of worry me going even later into the series, regardless of the result of this particular game, because RNG have clearly showed they don't really either care or they don't want the Kai'Sa on their team, and that's a big thing that could be a big hole in their draft. We'll have to wait and see. Both teams locked and loaded to see where they kind of both come into this one here, but I think NIP, they know what they need to do. They need to skirmish. They need to be utilizing this Rel and Alistar in those mid to late game team fights and just constantly getting those towers down with the, you know, the double AD carry.
Yeah, exactly. You have such a kind of seamless game plan coming through, and I highlighted Shadow has played the role once to split. It was up against Rare Adam, honestly, not even 2 weeks ago, and didn't die. 0-0-12 scoreline coming through, which when you're in a rel, I mean, right, not going to get a ton of gold, not going to get a ton of tankiness coming through. It's a lot about just the CC and the setup that you're able to bring through. And now we're going to get to see how experienced RNG is playing up against this pick that really never took off in the LPL as a jungler.
Yeah, really just kind of just saw a bit of fringe. Shadow has played, as you mentioned there. Did get at least one rep in on stage, which is always good to have. You don't really want to go too crazy niche when you're going into a playoffs, which is literally your season on the line, and it will be for the rest of the playoffs, you would imagine. But both teams locked and loaded. RNG already on the back foot. They need to have a strong performance. They got the Jace this time around with the Maokai, so an awful lot more, kind of set up with getting those mixed damages. We'll have to wait and see if either of these teams can get themselves an early advantage. But locked and loaded, we'll jump in onto the Rift and see who can pick up game number 2.
Oh, and NIP looking like...
they know.
Yeah. They have him completely surrounded.
They're going to wait to see where he goes. He might just have to hop. Yeah, he's going to have to take hop first, which honestly isn't the worst, but it just feels bad for that first wave or so.
Yeah, I mean, right, not going to be able to find some of those early trades with that boomerang to kind of cement yourself in that 1v1, especially if you don't walk in a melee range of Renekton level 1, right? That's where a lot of your good trades can start coming through, tethering on the edge of your range and making sure everything goes according to plan. RNG at least will get, some information with getting that ward down to spot out where Shadow is. But at the same time, with the fact that NIP know that ward's there, Shadow could path around that, and they could still try and deny RNG. Looks like Shadow actually will just start on that to make sure that it doesn't pull any of his laners out of lane, which I really like when you are playing the rel, because it means, right, Angel, Invincible, Photic, they can all get off to a good start playing out through the 1v1s and the 2v2s.
That's it. And Shadow, this is the thing as well. You got the rel jungle. You're actually able to... They've actually been pushing rel to the jungle quite a bit. You should now, with the nerfs or the adjustments coming in, you should max your Q first as the general rule of thumb. And we'll see what they're able to kind of go for. It has a very similar vibe to the Poppy as well. Level 3, you are exceptionally powerful to try and just, influence these lanes. See if you can make something work out, in the bot lane or perhaps even the top lane with that kind of very strong skirmishing Renekton. But we'll have to wait and see. Right now, just going to see both these teams just kind of test each other out. Level 2 should be hit here by RNG before the NIP bot lane, so they have themselves an early advantage.
And this is what RNG needed, right? NIP picking the Alistar, kind of giving away the level 1 in lane, and RNG are just thanking NIP for doing that and giving LP and Lumao a semblance of presence in this 2v2. We'll see if they're able to maintain it, because despite only being level 1, NIP have been actually matching the damage that RNG been putting out so far.
They've been matching it so far. Wave being pushed into the side of NIP means that they are going to have a little bit of push, which means you are going to have to maybe see RNG get a little bit more defensive. The thing is, with the combination of an Alistar and a Rel, that's a hell of a lot of a CC to be putting in this early on, especially considering with the Kai'Sa passive, going to have a lot of potential, kind of early damage and skirmishing available here to the NIP bot side.
Yeah, now we need to see RNG be conscious of this, right? Conscious of that Shadow's going to be down here towards this half of the map and can come for this gank. I wonder how close NIP's bot lane is to level 3. Shadow might not get a chance to wait for it. I thought Wei would read this and start making his way over. Looks like he does. Oh no, he's just going to finish the Krugs.
He's going to finish the Krugs, and this Wave's in such a terrible spot as well for the RNG bot lane. There we go, level 3. Flash immediately by LP. Lumao tries to flash away, but he's been hit down, CC'd away, and they're going to donate that one over to the Photic Fund. That is NIP on the board, and I mean, this is textbook from NIP.
And I'm just surprised that RNG not able to read it. I mean, way down on this side of the map. Again, Alexa doing the Krugs. They, of course, know that he started on his Raptors, would eventually make his way down towards the spot side. But with how far forward LP and Lumao are, it just set up so easily for the gank. They even were able to be patient and wait out their level 3, which I thought in the meantime, LP and Lumao would get a little bit suspicious. Like, hey, you know, we know we're not safe down here. Wait, Breathe might not be safe either.
My lord. Invincible with the insane trigger discipline there to not immediately flash on the Breathe. He knew the Mega was coming. He knew he didn't have the rotation of cooldowns. Takes an unfortunate trade back at the back of this one here, but what a great start here for NIP, being so strong in the skirmishes.
And trying so hard to just zone him off and make sure that cannon goes down. He's going to, yep, goes down in the end, so that one's going to be denied. And nice small wins by Invincible, utilizing that pressure that he had, and a lot of that coming, like you said, level 1. Breathe not able to get the ideal start with that boomerang and trying to get the best trades that he possibly could. And now it's like, hey, this was the one area of the map that was doing well last game, and now Invincible doing fine in this 1v1. Your bot lane's already been set behind, and Angel on the Tristana isn't really going to be under any threat in terms of a 1v1. And even if a gank comes through, right, you have Rocket Jump, Flash is still there. He'll be 6 soon to have that Buster Shot to force people away. It's going to be really hard for Wei to find any opportunities.
I mean, this is the thing as well. Tanguin, you know, kind of having this Jace, you want to be early aggressive, you want to be trying to kind of go for it, but the Tristana just negates it. They kind of go even a lot of the times in these lanes, and it does feel like with Invincible having level 6, doesn't really want to try and risk it underneath the tower. Trying to see if he can go for some turret damage, but, I mean, doesn't have the Demolish, so not sure he can really get this full plate unless Breathe really feels like there's a jungler up this top side.
Just gonna try and keep catching this wave. Again, like you said, NIP, I mean, Invincible really can't dive this. Would need his jungle to come through, especially now that Breathe has hit that level 6 mark. But the name of the game is still bot lane. RNG, this time with the fact that they have Prio in this 2v2, at least are able to get down some control wards now. So Shadow shouldn't have as easy of time of finding a gank like before. But it'd be very easy to get a repeat gank off with the fact that LP and Lumao not having those flashes up.
I love that from Zhuo, just kind of saying, I have X-Flash, I can do this. For some reason, actually, Lumao doesn't. Say for some reason, but obviously opting into the main dematerializer on the opposite side of that one there. Curious to see him kind of go for it. And again, NIP, early dragon stacking. They're looking to try and get this one going for themselves as quick as possible. Shadow is still level 5. Only level 6 is available to the solo laners for the moment. Zhuo could get himself a Hex Flash over the wall, and that's exactly what he's going to look to do. Gets himself into the brush, gets spotted. But yeah, RNG, you can't contest this. Even though you do have a level 6 on Tanguin, it's Jace. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't provide all that much, and just the positioning from NIP in this situation was so good. LP keeps pushing down in that bot lane, so he's not even necessarily directly close to the play, but had he been, right, they know Joel with that Hex Flash is probably playing over that wall or in an area where he can find an engage. So I think overall smart move for LP to not be that close.
And again, we're just kind of, it's honestly looking like an almost identical kind of setup as we've seen from game number 1. I will say RNG have a much better time this time around of fighting in a 5v5. You've got the kind of, you know, disengaging and kind of re-engaging tools with the Maokai and the Nautilus. So you have got plenty of ways to make this one work for your team. But I mean, NIP are going to be very happy with the first 8 minutes of this game with the Rift Herald spawning very soon. They're going to be able to get the resets out. You can see already that Shadow is moving straight back in towards this top side because he knows he's got a full clear to do. And this thing, Shadow's been fantastic with not only just getting ganks off and objectives, but his clear has been almost perfect as well.
Yeah, I feel like Shadow, ever since he's come to the LPL, maybe barring like his first few weeks back in 2021 summer, has been pretty good. Just been excellent overall. Found himself on a lot of just not top-tier rosters, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Hell, even the same thing can be argued for this NIP squad, right? I think a solid roster overall, like a lot of formidable names, pretty much across the board. But, right, not that same star power behind it. But speaking of Shadow, is just going to try and set himself up for a play in mid, because if they can find a pick in mid and RG start rotating up to try to find that Herald, it would give them an easy avenue to get in that objective for free. But RNG read it well, know he's in the vicinity, because, hey, if he's not on Rift Herald, where's he going to be? He's either like in his own jungle clearing one of his camps, or he's around mid lane. And NIP's mid lane wouldn't be playing that aggressively if he wasn't there. So overall, good read. And this time around, I like that RNG are trying not to give up objectives as freely. Sure, they did give up that dragon, right? But at least they postured a Sheen. At least they showed, like,
there
hey,
was intent.
if we could fight, we would fight here.
That's the kind of thing. It's like, hey, if we had level 6s on our big engage tools, we would definitely think about this a little bit more intently. But now it looks like Dro found himself with a level 6 and a flash and potentially an engage. RNG looking to go for it. He's right behind enemy lines. There's going to be Nature's Grass over it. Oh, Dro, it's beautiful. Can he get in right on top of the carries? Yes, he can. He's going to try and jump on the Tanguan, who does end up getting the Bramble Smash away from his jungler. Everyone's kind of backing themselves off right now. The Magnet Storm did not really do a lot. And these are low health bars. The AD carries are nowhere to be found. Here we go. Invincible does pop in to the Dominus. They're going to have to try and kill off someone. There's the Rift Hell confirmed. Shadow going to try and confirm that for himself as well. Breathe hasn't got the Mega Gnar ultimate. He's going to jump in, but the Crashdown is going to keep Shadow alive. As we can see, Angel flashing away. Zhou will go down as RNG get themselves on the board. Flash forward by Tanguan, and he kept himself so well topped up that he knew he could go aggressive, and everyone else was moving forward. Lumao thought about it, but they don't want to go any further. Still, Rift Herald for 2 kills. It's kind of even. RNG happy with that trade.
Yeah, RNG at least gets something out of it again. I feel like they're showing more backbone than they did in that first game. They also have a composition that has the ability to fight better. Still, good for NIP that they were able to pick that one up. At first, it almost looked like they were going to get pinched. But here, one of the big problems is that you don't have Mega on Breed just yet. He's trying to stack it up, so you really don't have that full topside pinch coming through from the Gnar that you'd like. So it allows for NIP to go for the turn and actually force Lumao to flash out of the play. So here, NIP are doing a great job of trying to not allow Breathe to come into the play. But here, once the Mega Gnar comes online, they know that they're able to go for this fight, maybe just waiting for Wei to have some cooldowns online to go for the full all-in, and then they do, and hell, NIP had already taken a fair bit of damage from the previous posturing, so with Breathe using that ultimate, with things like the Twisted Advance coming out, it allows RNG to find some nice kills in that exchange.
And nicely spread as well. One onto the Jace, one onto the Gnar. Always good to see there for the side of RNG as they look to try and continue that top side dominance. We'll say while that was all happening, LP and Photic were having a gentleman's agreement in that bot side and said, all right, we're just going to keep clearing the waves. No need to go crazy here. Lumao still does not have his level 6, which is very unfortunate there for the Nautilus. You'd love to have access to that to try and make something happen. But we're going to have 30 seconds to the next dragon spawns. And I think that for RNG, you lost a lot in that last, kind of exchange. You don't really have the same kind of potential to fight for this as you did against the Rift Herald.
Yeah, a lot of... I mean... It's kind of interesting, right? Because you're missing a lot of flashes, which can be a pivotal piece. We also do have some items coming out, right? Demonic Embrace picked up by Wei. We have a Kraken Slayer on LP now coming out of base. So you do have some pretty solid damaging pieces for RNG if you did want to end up going for this fight. The problem is that NIP already have positional advantage, and you have to be so cautious of Zhuo with that Hex Flash.
Yeah, Zhuo with the Hex Flash and the Unbreakable Will. You're going to see that the Dragon has been started. They know it's there. There's the Hex Flash over the wall. They're going to see now the Nature's Grass used to fully disengage on top of this one here, but they're going to punt Lumao right back in on top of everybody else. He doesn't have a flash. He doesn't have a where to go, and he is going to be confirmed there. There's the Moonlight Vigil doing basically nothing. It tickles the Alistair, who still has plenty of HP to work with. Having that extra honey fruit to top up Shadow just makes it so easy. Now you're looking to try and re-engage this one here. Lack of ultimates. Good little snipe there onto Angel, but it's just not going to mean much in the grand scheme of things. NIP still keeping themselves going with basically perfect neutrals between game 1 and 2.
Yeah, 2 dragons. Once again, RNG going to be on that bit of a timer to where they know they're going to have to fight NIP coming out soon. And I was going to say a lot. Maybe once again, you're going to have to be done by Breathe. But look at this. Yes, Invincible's done a fine job in neutralizing him so far. He's surviving. He's the member on NIP who really doesn't get all that much attention. Shadow typically will give him like an early gank just to set him up and make sure he's fine for the rest of the game. But you can see here, NIP have done such a great job of like reading where RNG's weaknesses have been as of late.
I love that Breathe uses the ultimate there just to say, no! The Microgs, just absolutely no contest over this whatsoever. It is on such a short cooldown generally at this stage of the game that you're not going to be too worried about it. 2 plates now being donated over in the mid lane as Angel does get himself nice 175 gold. And again, very close early game here between the 2 teams, but it's the objectives that are going in favor of NIP. Now, RNG, as we mentioned, have a much better comp at dealing with what NIP have drafted for themselves, but it does feel like NIP just feel more confident in these 5v5s or at the moment 4v4 situations.
I feel like it goes back to what Shadow said in the interview. Like, we're seeing small improvements in, like, their macro play and in terms of how they're making these, like, small decisions. Even in the fight around Herald that they did end up ultimately, like, losing out on. Just the consciousness of knowing, like, hey, we can't let Breathe pinch us. Like, let's all lean towards this top side, prevent him from coming in. It's, like, a lot of small movements like that. Joie finding great angles to put so much threat on the RNG roster. And I feel like Joie really has been one of the better performers for Ninjas in Pyjamas overall. And you can see now, we're chasing Lumao down and making sure that LP and Lumao aren't going to be able to find any presence in this bot lane.
I was just looking at that as well. Photic is level 10. Photic has been basically in a solo lane with LP, so he's able to get himself onto solo lane XP and levels. That is absurd to kind of see there from the NIP bot lane. And honestly, just having this constant wave clear with the static Shiv on 13-13, it's still exceptionally powerful. And you can see just how well it's just keeping, you know, kind of everyone on RNG's bot side just very much pinned back.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just constant, like I was saying, constantly putting up pressure, waves crashing into turrets, making it so people have to go and answer these. And NIP are going to be the ones who have a lot more threatening pushing power, right? We're hitting in draft about the double marksman coming through. When things like Baron spawn, I might need to pause. Lumao's trying to look incredibly threatening, but in that position, I feel like NIP are the ones who would take you down. At least this time, Machine, he does have his flash back up. So if he does potentially get caught out, he can get away. There we go. There we go. Lumao checking everything off the checklist that we want to see for him to not be 0-3-0.
That is the dream coming out here for RNG's
Was that condescending?
I was a little, you know what? I'll let him be the judge of that one there. I'm not one to judge on that regard. But yeah, well, look, RNG not only able to kind of keep presence around this because of Lumao's posturing around this Rift Herald, but they also get themselves a tier 1 in that bot side. It's the first turret of the game confirmed for them. So gives them a little bit of a lead there, and a lot of it, unfortunately, for them, kind of similar to game number 1, is all on Breed. Breed needs to be with his team. Does have a TP this time around. Will be trying to build up his Mega before he looks to try and make his presence known. Decent poke coming out here from Tanguin and Wei. So look to try and constantly whittle down these health bars. Hook does land. They're going to try and all in. You cannot cleanse a knock-up Photic. But you are going to have to try and go away from this one. Zhou does end up popping the Unbreakable Will as a flash came in there from Lumao to make that one a little bit more dicey. I think it's just going to be a trade of the Rift Herald for bot lane tier 1. So overall, RNG looking a lot more comfortable around this top side of the map.
The poke setup was just so good coming out from RNG to make sure that NIP couldn't enter Breathe. Also, getting Pryo in the last wave allowed him to come up from bot side, so Invincible must be communicating, hey, Breathe's not here anymore, you got to watch out. And it's putting so much threat on the Ninja's core to make sure that finally RNG get an objective machine. Like, we've been saying, NIP have been getting everything in the series so far, but RNG have gotten something. And Dragon comes up in 35 seconds, they might get 2 objectives.
Oh my god, the tides are turning. The gears are moving, and only RNG knows how far it will take them. We'll see as if they want to go for this buy. We'll say a level 11 Photic with a Nashor's Tooth in the back pocket as well is pretty damn scary, to say the least. So you gotta still think about where you want to take this fight.
And like LP and Lumao, no flashes, those ults aren't up as well. If they get position on the Dragon first, maybe Tanguin, like he's doing now, can start layering some of this poke. But look at the minimap and where the Rel and Tristana are. I think NIP in a pretty good position to make sure where RNG can't get this for free. But I love the threat on this mid lane turret with the Herald.
Yeah, get themselves a nice... Won't get the turret fully, as Shadow and Invincible are there. Shadow's got a lot of HP for a level 10 Rel at the moment. It's just kind of obviously so used to seeing it in the support position. Zhou just takes a little bit of poke, nothing too exceptional. Will not have his flash available for the next couple of seconds. Double Scryers has been used. As you can see, they don't really have great vision here, RNG. They're looking to try and make sure they can contest for this Dragon, which is down about half HP. Zhou will have himself a bit of a caught out, honestly, and he's getting taken so low. He's out of this fight. Now you need to go for this one completely all on your own. Your 4v5. Breed is going to lose the Mega very, very shortly. He's not going to be able to hop in. You would imagine he's going to look for it now, but now he gets the flash or the jump back from Angel. Shadow is still in the back of the pit all by himself. Nobody goes down, but RNG just bully NIP out of the pit.
They do. And it comes down to so many small things. Like, again, not being able to find an engage in mid is, does he get out? He gets out. You know what, Ashin? We take those. Shadow survives. RNG also get another objective, which is what we wanted to see from them. Everyone's getting W's today. But in a position like that last fight, I mean, NIP committed 2 members down towards that bot side to push Breathe in. Then they had a small window to where they can try and find an engage on mid. The fact that they didn't do that allowed Breathe to ping-pong the wave back. You now have this pincer movement on Dragon. And then Jwa, that position might have worked earlier. I don't know how it did because it's the same like flanking Alistar position you see literally every game. But that's the point. It isn't going to work anymore, and RNG were ready for it.
Yeah, RNG were very much prepared to see where and when things were going to be happening. I will say Breed kind of having just, so much presence around that bot side just made it so difficult here for NIP. I think Shadow is actually rushing towards, I think it might be a Warmogs, and that is honestly such a great adaptation if he is, because he's recognizing, like, look, I need to be a front line. I need to be able to tank up as much as I physically can before we even go into a fight. Otherwise, it's going to be a rinse and repeat around that Dragon fight again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he ends up going for. Last time he did play this, I even believe he went things like Radiant Virtue, which a lot of times you see people go with the Evan Shroud on the rel to kind of amplify, your teammates even more. But we'll kind of keep an eye on where he goes with it this time. Again, our sample size of jungle rels in the LPL is Shadow one game and Kanadi one game. Exactly. It is not really there. But NIP, and speaking of Shadow, doing a great job of at least threatening them off this turf for now.
Whoa!
Oh!
They wanted that smoke. They wanted that smoke, and they will be able to get the flash out away, which is going to confirm the tower. And this is the thing, when you have got so much damage front-loaded into someone like Kai'Sa, when you got that AP kind of isolation damage available, that Q will do serious work here onto even the tankier members of RNG.
And right, 2 members deep. I mean, Botic feeling good about himself. LP still needing a bit of time to get some more items under his belt. This is why NIP are willing to be so aggressive. Is Jwa.
Yeah, whoa. Let's see the flashback away from Lumao to get the Nature's Grass coming over the top of this one here. Zhuo will not be surviving this one. Not going to have the Moonlight Vigil take him down. It will be the Ignite of Lumao who confirms it. Breathe is in the mid lane looking to see if he has an opportunity to smash some people into a wall, but not going to happen for the moment. And this is RNG kind of, fighting back just as good as they're given. This is good from RNG to make sure that NIP don't get too comfortable around these kind of, skirmishing setups.
And it's NIP feeling themselves a little too much. I was wondering why Lumao flashed there, but I think Lumao assumed people were closer to the play, which is why Joel was going in, because there's actually a control ward from NIP on that mid lane river brush towards topside. So I assume Lumao thought he was under more threat than he really was, and then they quickly realized, oh, Joel's just kind of going in all by himself. Sure, I guess Photic wasn't too far away, but really no more burst to be able to take down that Nautilus. Just led RNG to getting a free kill onto the Alistar.
Why you gotta do that to Tanyuan observers? Like, come on, like he missed it. We all knew he missed it, but you don't have to keep pushing it there. Yeah, I mean, look, RNG doing great at the moment to make sure that the NIP don't feel like they can just control the tempo of the map. They don't, honestly, I feel like Invincible has been, completely muted this entire game. Something that Renekton's just aren't really, kind of used to saying about Renekton's. Normally they kind of take it over, especially here in the LPL. Shadow will get a crash down to make sure he doesn't lose any more health. And can't say the same for Lumao, who's getting poked down so aggressively. Oh my lord, that was so close to getting confirmed. I feel like that could have been able to do it. They're going to try and jump onto Breathe here with the Magnet Storm. Zhou jumps in on top of him as well. The cleanse comes down as Breathe is just tanking up all of this damage. Lumao does get a hook in on the backside here to jump onto Angel. Angel gets the kill anyway, and now he jumps onto Wei, who he knows doesn't have any way. It's a bit of a strange fight. It's separated on 2 fronts as Tangyuan has to try and get himself back into this fight, but that could be Baron. They've got themselves plenty of time here, and with no Nautilus, they may look for it, but no, they're going to back away. They want this Dragon instead.
Man, and RNG just cannot try to take fights from those positions. We've seen their composition does really well when it's like all grouped together. You're relying on Tangyuan to just throw out that range poke. You have all the saplings coming out from Wei, trying to go for this 2-pronged attack with 2 of your squishiest members, like the Maokai and the Nautilus being together, just gives NIP easy avenues back into some of these fights. You pointed out the Dragon. NIP looks like they are just going to end up giving this one up to RNG if RNG even elect to take it. But with the threat of the Baron coming out against double marksman, RNG have to be very conscious of what NIP are doing.
Not only just double marksman, but double marksman and a Renekton. You know, this is a comp that can and will destroy a Baron if given a moment to it. Breed does get the hop over. Angel is still on the backside. Yeah, Angel will be able to free hit onto this. Breed went way too far forward there to try to make that one work. They're jumping on the show. LP flashes in! LP with the hero play finds an isolated Tristana and does get the kill confirmed. I don't think RNG are going to be able to go for this Baron, but they'll get themselves a dragon, and they're starting to eke up that advantage once more.
And I don't even know how Angel went down. Still being flash up was the burst from LP. Really just that unexpected. It looked like RNG were the team that should have lost that play with how, like you said, how far forward Breathe ended up going. But managed to make it work. Not sure if we'll get a replay of that one because surprisingly, Shane, we haven't really gotten all that many replays in this game.
No.
I don't know
really at all.
Oh,
we're going to get a replay of this one here. Tanguin trying to see if he can trade back a kill right at the end. Lumao is the next target. He finally used that stopwatch that he had in his inventory for so long. Double kill for the Kaisa. And blink and you'll miss it. It's everything for NIP. Wei will eventually try and keep himself alive here. He has extra plans. He should be able to stay alive. That could be huge as they look to try and maybe contest for this Baron.
Yeah, we're going to see what Breathe is able to do if he can put up any amount of pressure to try and stop this. As Wei actually finangles his way out of the situation. Definitely doesn't have the health bar to even go and try to contest and find some kind of cheeky Baron steal. And I don't think one little mini-Gnar is going to be enough.
One mini-Gnar versus the entirety of a ninja platoon. They are in pajamas, but that does not make them any less fierce. That got close. That wasn't exactly a clean smite, but NIP, 3 kills, a Baron, going to be able to reset this one here. And this is just, again, LP. I love this POV because he just sees that Angel's there, and he goes, right, I can kill you.
Yeah, waits. We get the Maokai ult coming out, so he is stuck for now. And then the damage comes through. Actually does try to jump away. I missed it, but yeah, just too much damage coming out from that one. And then here in the mid lane, a bit overzealous, thinking they can take this one down. Like, it's just not banking on Photic being this close to be able to jump in with that ultimate to bring them down. Shadow, out of nowhere on the wraparound, sets up for another one. And then RNG ultimately just so disconnected in this play. They're trying to make it so scrappy. They're just looking for picks left and right. And they're just giving more opportunities over for NIP to win in these team fights. Now look, 3-0-2 on the Kaisa. Photic is huge.
Photic is absolutely massive. So big, in fact, that you can see that LP, he picks up a Hex Drinker, which is only good against the Kaisa. That's insane to me that, you know, kind of see that. And even then, when you think about how he died in that last game, or that last fight, excuse me, it didn't matter that Photic wasn't there. He wasn't actually getting killed by Photic. That's the difference maker. He just got burnt out by everybody else. So really, really, you know, kind of, you know, curious to see how RNG bring themselves back into this one here, because they are very much struggling to try and find a way back in now that you have all this damage. And look at the poke coming in. Like, Photic's just untouched, constantly outranging everyone and putting in serious work here. Lumao's half health.
Yeah, now you're at a point where, again, the Tristana's going to be able to get so much work done to these turrets with the Baron. You were right. We have the Warmogs coming up for Shadow, meaning, you know, even if he does get whittled down a little bit, he's going to have a lot of upkeep time on the map. We see an Engage try to come out for Wei, but it's all in vain. And now the siege continues. RNG only 2k gold behind, but it just feels like so much more with how much map control NIP have.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's so hard to see them kind of really getting anything here. Photic just nearly getting a quarter of the health from Breed from one Void Seeker is just so oppressive right now. And I mean, this is NIP to keep pushing in, get these towers down, make it harder and harder for RNG to kind of have a contest around this dragon. And honestly, I feel like once the Chem Soul came out, NIP said, cool, forget about the dragons. We don't care anymore, because it's just not powerful enough for a dragon to risk potentially leaving up an Elder. Oh my lord, it is gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful from Shadow. 3 men are dead in an instant, and NIP, they're going to 2-0.
I know NIP just out of nowhere. Shadow so decisive with the engage. Now it's going to be so easy for them to run this down with the fact that they still have Baron for another 10 seconds. We'll see what Breed can do.
Nothing. Breed can do nothing except watch
I wanted
his
to believe,
nexus
Ishida. I wanted to believe.
You did, and now Tanguin as well. Double kill given over to Photic. NIP looking clean, crisp, coherent, and most importantly, they're going 2-0 up in this series.
And who would have called it, right? Who would have called NIP going up over RNG? Sure, we are Okay, NIP, come on, don't. Okay, I was gonna say, if they troll this by trying to find more kills, I will honestly be so tilted. But I know, here we are. We're casters. We're also a bit of salesmen. We got to be like, sell our narratives. Like, hey, NIP have beaten RNG all year long. They can do it again. But it's like, come on. Did anyone really expect NIP to come up 2-0 over? Maybe, maybe find 2 game wins again. Maybe even win the series.